guys, EJ here, back with another video, and today it's going to be my Blu-ray DVD update for May 18th, 2020. So I've got 8 new Blu-rays to show you, all from 2018. Still working on my wish list from a couple years ago, but almost done pretty soon. Hopefully this will be like the third to last update from that year, and then I can move on to getting movies from last year. Because obviously I'm still behind. um, but yeah, I got some good films in here. Sort of an adventure slash war movie type haul. A little bit of sports, a little bit of dramatic sci-fi if you like. But yeah, some good films from 2018. Some surprises in here that I really liked. So anyway, let's get into it. So up first we have 12 Strong, starring Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, good action war movie, following the events of 9/11, U.S. forces in Afghanistan. The first story of the first soldiers hooking up with the Northern Alliance to take on members of Al Qaeda and the Taliban. Really good action, really good tense. Interesting scenes. I thought Chris Hemsworth was excellent. Good supporting cast. Great people like Michael Shannon, who I mentioned in my top 10 video of 2017 from The Shape of Water. Michael Pena, always great character actor. Always like seeing him and stuff. Yeah, 12 Strong, really strong film. To put it mildly, I liked it a lot. Starring Chris Hemsworth. So that is 12 Strong. Alright, up next, a film that really surprised me. I wasn't expecting much going into it, and that is Alpha. Yeah, set during the last ice age. It's about a young boy of this tribe who goes hunting with his father and the sort of elite members of his tribe. He gets left for dead, and he ends up befriending a wolf, and the two of them form a bond and a partnership to help him survive and make his way back home. Visually a stunning film, some really great sort of movement, just some really interesting scenes. I thought it was fantastic, to be honest. I like films about isolation and set in the wilderness in general, but yeah, I wasn't really expecting much going into this, but I thought it was an interesting, well-told story, and like I said, some visually arresting scenes. I really loved it. Alpha was one of my favorite adventure action movies of 2018. Alright guys, moving on. Up next we have Creed 2, of course starring Sylvester Stallone, Michael B. Jordan. This time Rocky Balboa is training Adonis Creed, of course the son of Apollo. I guess he was training him in the first movie too. But anyway, this time he's on. He has to take on Ivan Drago's son, of course. Ivan Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren, who returns in this film. Not looking so great in his older age, to be honest. Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, decent boxing film. Not as good as the first Creed. Tessa Thompson's in it as well. Yeah, decent film, like I said, but not great overall. I thought. I'm not a huge boxing fan in general. But Rocky and the Creed films have been fine. I thought Stallone was excellent in the first Creed, actually. But yeah, Creed 2, just perfectly fine follow-up to Creed. Alright, up next, interesting film, that's for sure, and that is First Man, directed by Damien Chazelle, starring Ryan Gosling, who of course in this film stars as Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon. During the Apollo 11 mission. Yeah, interesting person, Neil Armstrong, that's for sure. For a guy who was one of the pioneers of space travel, and obviously the first man to step on the moon. He was really sort of very aloof about it in his time following that. Like when he came back, when they landed, and when you see him in interviews. Up until his death recently. So, fascinating individual, Neil Armstrong. And for a guy who did one of the great feats in human history, he sort of was wasn't too thrilled about it. Let's put it mildly. Yeah, a guy who did that, you'd expect him to be sort of over the moon about it. I'm dropping a lot of puns today. But yeah, First Man, good looking film, really interesting, of course. Ryan Gosling is good and a very subdued performance by him. Good supporting cast, people like Claire Foy, Jason Clarke, I believe. Yeah, not a perfect film, and like I said, I've always been interested in space travel and the exploration of the moon and planets and so on. So I've seen a lot of videos about fake moon landings and Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and all that kind of stuff on YouTube over the years. So always interesting seeing this story, and it's told from Armstrong's perspective, basically. So that is First Man. All right, guys, moving on. Up next, we have Operation Finale, starring Ben Kingsley and Oscar Isaac. Yeah, about the Israeli intelligence forces out to capture Adolf Eichmann following World War II, the man responsible for masterminding the Holocaust, basically. Yeah, good film, great performances by Kingsley and Oscar Isaac. It's a lot like Munich, if you've seen Steven Spielberg's Munich from 2005. Similar sort of storyline, except this one takes place because of the Holocaust, and that one was because of the Munich um, Olympic hostage situation and killings that happened at the Olympics. Yeah, good film, good supporting cast. People like Melanie Laurent, who was in Inglourious Bastards. I haven't seen her in much else, to be honest, but I remember her in that film. Nick Kroll, good comedic actor, is also in this. Interesting role for him. Yeah, good solid film, like I said. If you like films about history and World War II like I do, obviously this and the people involved are certainly part of that. So I enjoyed it. That is Operation Finale. All right, up next, simply titled Robin Hood. Now I love the story of Robin Hood. I believe I counted this is like the seventh different version of Robin Hood I have, but it might be one of the weakest, to be honest. Starring Taron Egerton as Robin of Locksley, a young British actor who I like a lot. I've liked pretty much everything he's been in, from the Kingsman films. Loved Eddie the Eagle, and I thought he was great as Elton John in Rocket Man. Yeah, interesting take on Robin Hood. Sort of talks about Robin returning back from the Crusades and sort of the battle he has against the Sheriff of Nottingham, played by Ben Mendelsohn in this film. Um, Leading up to him becoming Robin Hood. That's what really the film is about. It's not really about Robin Hood. It's about sort of the story of him leading up to when he becomes Robin Hood. Interesting action, which it was heavy on. I think that was the point. Jamie Foxx is in it for some reason. Jamie Dornan, Eve Hewson plays Maid Marian. Like I said, not my favorite version of Robin Hood, but still an interesting take on it. Sort of like the Three Musketeers remake from, I want to say, the mid 2000s, 2004, something like that. So that is Robin Hood. Alright, guys, moving on. Up next, we have Sicario, Day of the Soldado. Yeah, a sequel to a really good film from a few years ago that I liked a lot. This one not as good like Creed 2, not as good as the original, starring Josh Brolin as a federal agent taking on the Mexican drug cartels, and Benicio as a sort of enforcer who's there to stir things up with the cartels who are now trafficking terrorists across the border. Yeah, good action, interesting, involving storyline. Catherine Keener also stars in the film. Always enjoy watching her. Um, yeah, like I said, not as good as the original. I really liked the first one, but still a decent film. That is Sicario: Day of the Soldado. All right, last but not least, We have another remake of sorts, and that is Tomb Raider, starring Alicia Vikander. Um, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders. I have the first one, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. That's an enjoyable film. I don't have the sequel in that franchise. But this was another interesting take on Tomb Raider, the character. I never really played the video game, but I'm well aware of it and the character. Yeah, interesting film. I thought it was a lot more violent than I was expecting. The Angelina Jolie versions seem to be a bit more PG-13. This had a more of an R vibe, I would say. Um, so yeah, it was heavy on the sort of action violence, which I wasn't expecting as much, but it was kind of a nice surprise, I thought. Um, yeah, interesting take on Tomb Raider. Good supporting cast, people like Dominic West, Walter Goggin, I believe is the villain, something like that. I like Alicia Vikander a lot. She hasn't done much since sort of her breakout from a couple years ago with the Danish Girl and Ex Machina. I'm not sure what else she's done in recent last couple years besides this. But yeah, Tomb Raider was perfectly fine. Um, I'm not in love with the character as a whole, but yeah, about as good as the Angelina Jolie versions. Maybe a little bit better than the first one. I don't really remember the sequel that much. So that is Tomb Raider. So those are my 8 pickups this week. Sort of an adventure type theme for the most part. Let me know what you think of these films. Thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see you.